This is the first time ever that we have an authorized movie for Jimi.
Who would play Jimi in that? Jimi Hendrix, the iconic late rock star, is being honored in Experience Hendrix, a series of concerts that are being held across the U.S. I talked to his younger sister, Janie, who's the CEO of Experience Hendrix, LLC, which manages the business of Jimi Hendrix. Welcome, Janie.
Thank you.
You're on the road right now. You just launched the Experience Hendrix tour. Tell me about that, because there's some big names involved: Buddy Guy, Bootsy Collins, even Billy Cox.
That's correct. Well, we have about 30 artists that perform on this tour. We go out once or twice a year. This is our largest tour. We're in 25 cities over 5 weeks. We're about halfway through. And we just played Jimi. You know, it's all about Jimi, a tribute to his life and his legacy. Kind of the roots of the fruits with Buddy Guy and Billy Cox, being that Billy's been in all of Jimi's bands since 101st Airborne.
Yeah.
They were in the Army together. Yeah. And Jimi really looked up to Buddy Guy and kind of stole some of his blues licks, and then Buddy kind of listens to Jimi, and you know, they kind of like exchange. So it's kind of nice to have both of those guys on the tour.
You're the CEO of the company, the LLC, Experience Hendrix LLC. Your brother died when you were 9 years old. Mm-hmm. And the thing I love about him is that he was a true musician, and everybody always says that he took his guitar everywhere he went. But when you give interviews, you say that he didn't when he came home to Seattle. So tell me about, you know, the last time you saw him and your connection with him.
The last time he came home, he played at Sick Stadium. It was pouring down rain, thunder, lightning. I remember several things about that time. When he came home, he wanted to just spend time with the family, sit and do family forums. That's kind of what we called them. We'd sit in the living room in a circle, and we all wanted to know what he was doing, especially a lot of family members that didn't talk to him on a regular basis. And he wanted to know what everyone else is doing, because you kind of feel like you miss out when you're on the road. You miss birthdays, weddings, funerals, anniversaries. And so he wanted to know what people were doing in their life. And at the concert, it was outdoors. It was at the Sick Stadium, which was a baseball stadium at the time. And I remember when we pulled up, and there were about 13 cars behind us, and the security guard said, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's a sold-out show." And my brother started laughing, and he goes, "Well, they're all here to see me, so if you won't let me in, they're going to be kind of disappointed." And then the security goes, "Oh, Mr. Hendrix, I'm sorry, go." And he goes, "Well, my family is in this car, and all the way back, 13 cars." And so then they're like, okay. So we went in, and my dad, he was kind of playing security, because he was on the side of, like, backstage, and he had his golf rain gear in the car. He pulled it out.
Yeah.
And he had like this broomstick, and he kept pushing the tarp that was on Jimi's head that was full of water down so that it wouldn't just, you know, dump on him. And,
oh, wow.
And Jimi got really sick after that concert, and they were supposed to go to Portland. They were driving to Portland, him and his managers and the rest of the band. And they weren't playing that the next day. It was actually 2 days later. So my dad made sure that Jimi stayed home and got rest. And I remember the conversation. The manager was like, "Well, no, we have to go. He has to get in the car. We have to go down to Portland." He goes, "Well, you're not playing tonight." And so he can stay home, he's gonna sleep, he's gonna rest, and he'll fly out tomorrow and meet you. And I think that's really, you know, there was a time that Jimi asked for my dad to come on the road and be part of his management team, and it was just that, to have family protect him and be around him so that they could be the buffer, you know, instead of Jimi being the one trying to protect himself.
And you told your brother, he told you, you won't have to ever worry about anything, and you told him, "I'm going to take care of you."
Yeah, that was when I was 6 years old. It was, I call it the cosmic promise, because, you know, he said, you don't have to worry about anything. I'll always take care of you. And I kind of watched, like, when he would come to town, and being in backstage, they didn't have the green rooms like they do now, and you don't get the rider that says, "I want green M&Ms," or whatever you want. So I would watch then bring like Kentucky Fried Chicken back, and it would be all gone by the time, you know, he's like, okay, well, the show must go on. So I said, well, when I grow up, I'm going to take care of you.
Representing and managing the life of a deceased celebrity, the career of a deceased celebrity is not easy, especially as easy as people think. From your perspective, what does that job entail? Like the biggest, you know, 2 or 3 responsibilities.
Well, first of all, you're responsible to keep his legacy alive, and you listen and you watch for licensing opportunities, for sync licensing, and that's like when you watch commercials or movies, then they want to license his music for those different projects. There's lawsuits, you know.
Lots, right.
Too many. And
filing, and you're sued as well.
Right, and then there's, you know, trademark. You have to make sure you stay on your trademark, because if you don't use it, you lose it, and you have to make sure you protect your trademarks. You know, doing tours such as what we're doing now is just to keep his music and his life out there in the public eye, and the posthumous releases, CDs, documentaries. Just, you know, it takes usually like a year to put together a project. Going in the studios, it's long days, long hours. I mean, Jimmy did all the heavy lifting, don't get me wrong, but, you know, we have Eddie Kramer, who was and is his original engineer, and he's in the studio with us, and we're listening to tapes, transfer them, and it takes like 14-hour days when we're working on projects in the studio.
Another great thing about your brother was that a lot of the times that when he was rehearsing using Electric Lady as a rehearsal studio, he had that tape rolling.
Always.
And how many songs did he it was over 100 songs,
over
right?
110, yeah.
There's been a lot that's been released, Valleys of Neptune, a lot of things. But how many unreleased songs are there? Are there any unreleased songs that are original that no one's heard yet, that are...
Well, usually, some of the songs that we put out, like in the box set, they're Sweet Angel, which is a combination of Little Wing and Angel. And we were able to unearth some songs that people hadn't heard, or different versions. And a lot of the new albums or new releases, and we still call them albums because we still do vinyl, but the releases that we put out, they're songs that you may recognize the title, but they're just completely different versions. He never really played the same song twice,
right,
the same exact way. He did a little different, so.
Like a lot of the blues guys, too.
Yeah, it's all about feeling, you know.
Yeah.
It's not mechanical. It's really, their soul is in that music, and that's part of what we do, is just to keep his spirit alive in his music. But as far as songs go, I mean, we have a vault, all temperature controlled, and there's still music that is in there that hasn't been released
Do
yet.
you feel that you know about everything by now that's out there? Like if there's somebody that has something at their house, or an artifact or piece of clothing, or a live concert or something, you pretty much know about it?
No, I don't claim to know about all of that, but
Okay.
you know, what we do is we put the word out in different media forms to locate photographs, which we actually this year we've located probably about 1,000 more photographs that have not been seen. And those photographs we use in CD booklets, and like I said, we still put out vinyl, so we use them for those booklets as well, and merchandise.
Okay.
Tapes, no, I mean, because you know, people would bring like their own tape recorders, so we have our own bootleg version of our releases, which is Dagger Records, and that could be mono. And
Do you smile upon that stuff, or is there a feeling of, hey, you're impinging upon our likeness and image, you need to give us that material or sell it to us, or how does it work?
Well, we put it out, so
Okay.
they do, you know, everything. Yes, nothing's free. So usually we've had to buy the tapes, and then we clean them up with Eddie involved, and then we put them out under Dagger Records, which is our own bootleg label.
Is there a lot of that out there still that you haven't gotten yet, do you think?
I think that some people don't realize things that they have. You know, maybe their loved one recorded it and then they passed on, and that's how we actually located the Miami Pop tapes. It was video, pristine video from the concert, and the widow, she didn't know that she had it, and we located it. Actually, John McDermott, who's my Kellogg manager, located that. And she went up to her attic, kind of funny, like she's on the phone, she puts the phone down. You can hear her go up in the attic. She comes down with the tapes, describes the reels, and there they are, and we fly out to the Carolinas and do a deal.
The movie that's coming out, this is a biopic on Jimi Hendrix, and you're not involved in that movie. They haven't come to you to license the material, and it's not my understanding that you would even give them a chance to license the songs. So first of all, I want to ask you about your movie that you're coming out with, which is a biopic of Jimi Hendrix, and then I want to get your insights on what you think about the biopic that's coming out.
Okay, well, first of all, I can tell you nothing about the new biopic that's coming out because I haven't seen it and not really paying too much attention to it. But we just did a deal with ICM, which we are putting out our own biopic and talking. And this is the first time ever that we have an authorized movie for Jimi, and we're really excited about it. We kind of have some ideas of how we want to pick Jimi, the person that's going to portray Jimi. And of course it will have all the music in it, and this is the first bio that will.
Who would play Jimi in that?
We don't know. You know, I'm kind of thinking like an unknown, and we've even thought about doing like a cast call.
Why an unknown? Why not Will Smith or Prince or?
Well, I think Will did a great job playing Muhammad Ali, and I don't know, Prince is Prince. He's his own icon, right? And so I think that kind of our, and I'm not saying that we're not open to other people, but I think right now we're just kind of looking at putting it out there for somebody that's not done or has their own, what do you call it, like their own name for themselves, you know, kind of an unknown.
This new biopic, it has Andre 3000 in it. It's scheduled to come out soon. As I said, you're not involved in that movie. You haven't seen it then, right?
No.
Okay. How accurate do you expect it to be, though? Because were you consulted in the making of the film?
No.
Okay. I've read accounts that there were other people that were close to Jimi that were not consulted. Are you concerned about the accuracy of it?
I'm not really concerned too much about it at all since we weren't involved. I'm really concerned about the movie that we're going to work on.
Okay.
And I think that I'll put my energies into that.
One of the complications, and we deal with what a lot of celebrities have this situation, is that your brother didn't have a will when he died, and as a result of that, there was a lot of family lawsuits. I get a sense that your family is still estranged over that. What advice do you give people?
Write a will. Where, you know, I heard a lady once say, where there's a will, instead of saying there's a way, she said there's relatives. So it's kind of a funny saying to me, but no, really, like get everything in order. You know, Jimi was 27 when he passed away, so we had no idea that, of course, his life wasn't going to go on. My father ended up being the sole heir, and so it was left to my father to determine what went where. And, you know, that's really, it was about him. My dad started Experience Hendrix and Authentic Hendrix. He started foundations, and he really did the best that he could in keeping Jimi's legacy alive.
And Paul Allen helped with the legal costs.
He did. He loaned us money. We were able to pay him back 100%. And without him, we probably wouldn't have Experience Hendrix, so we're very appreciative of that.
One more question, because I know that I've read about this. There's so much about what happened to your brother out there that's just not known. And you kind of imply that you don't think that it was an overdose. Do you think that your brother was murdered?
Well, first of all, Jimi didn't die of an overdose. He died of asphyxiation, which was a combination. Right. So it was a combination of the sleeping pills and the wine, and it caused him to vomit, choke on his vomit.
Do you think your brother was murdered?
You know, I really don't know. I really, you know, since I was a child, I heard the conspiracy theories and all of that. I remember my dad once saying it doesn't really matter, because if he was, the people that people speculated being involved are all gone now. And so what recourse is there? What, law is now applied to that? And we can't bring him back. So what we do is we just take his music and continue his legacy through concerts and through posthumous releases, and we just hope that people continue to do what Jimmy wanted them to do, and that was to hear his music. He created this wonderful catalog of music. The lyrics are beautiful, and they really are kind of a direction for people to go, not just back then in the 60s, but still today. It transcends time and cultures and colors and creeds. It transcends all of that. And so for us as a family, we just put it out so people can continue to hear it, continue to understand him perhaps.